Jim with the Fern Factory, and I'm going to show you how to take an overgrown staghorn board and divide it and mount the rest of it to a tree. Taking a regular medium board moss kit. Comes with the moss, the netting, and fishing line. We may not need the fishing line for this. Like that. Here's the board I'm going to split up. So I take this pup off the center right here and mount it to this board, put it back in my collection, and the rest of it is going to be mounted to the tree to go into my garden. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the plant firmly, and it may seem like I'm tearing it apart, but it'll be fine, and remove the pup. May have to do a little cutting on this one. Lots of times they'll just pull off, but if not, just go ahead and cut into it. There's the pup. I'm going to leave the rest of this all together. Well, I'm this far, I'm just going to go ahead and cut off the netting off this board. Remove some of the soil and the moss. And this is what's going to go to the tree. I'm going to tie that right to the side there. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to get my kit out. Open the bag of moss. Put a nice clump of moss right in the middle here. You can wet this moss and it won't be as dusty and dirty, so you can slightly dampen it. You don't want to get it too wet, otherwise it'll pack too firm. I take the netting, figure out approximately where I want this plant to go. Like right about there. What I'm going to do, I'm going to cut out a diamond out of the center. Okay, like so. Put the fronds all together, push them through the hole. What I'm trying to protect the rhizomes, the center leaves, the new center leaves. You don't want to damage those. Make sure the plant's upright. The new growth will be on the top. Then push it down. Okay, now what I'm going to do, I'm going to have to turn this around and face it towards me. I can't work upside down, so I'll show you what I'm doing. I'm going to staple the bottom on first. Just going to staple a few staples to get it in position. Put two in the bottom. I'm going to put a couple in just in case you put it somewhere you want to remove it, so you can remove the staple. I like to go about 2 fingers or 3 fingers in all the way around to show a little bit of the board. And go back and trim the moss off. While we have it open like this on one side, I like to go back in and fill the moss in, because it'll be easier to put it on the bottom before it's all stapled up. You want it nice and full on the bottom. Make it nice and tight all the way around. Go ahead and finish stapling the bottom. I like to give a little bit of roundness to my corners on the bottom. At the top I leave it straight, on the bottom I give a little bit of corner cut to it. It's kind of what it's looking like right now. Then I'll go back and I'll trim. Got an extra row right here. I'll go ahead back and trim that off. Add a little bit more moss to it. And there you go, that's pretty much it. You want to give it a good soaking. What you could do, if this was really loose, you could take the fishing line, go back and tie on the fishing line real quick. This one probably doesn't need it because it's nice and firm in there, but then you would just go back, loop it through, and go back and forth a few times to sure it up. And just tie it off. And there you go. As you recall, this is the one I took the pup off of, and we're going to mount it to that tree. What I like to use is a regular nurseryman's tape, but it's clear, so you don't see it. It's not the bright green, and it's called Tie It Clear. And you can get this on my site too. So what I'm going to do, usually I would have someone help me, but my helper's filming me right now, so I'm going to knock off some of the soil in the center to give it a little bit of curvature of the tree. I got this old netting on there, so I'm going to utilize that. If it wasn't there, I would just go with the Tie It Clear, but since it's there, I'm going to go ahead and put a couple of staples in to help me hold it up. I'm going to try to get as high as I can. Okay, that's just holding it up there barely for me, so I'm going to go ahead and use this Tie It Clear from here. And this stuff, you're going to have to wrap it all the way around the tree. What I like to do is go in and out through the rhizomes. You don't want to cover up the center of any of the pups on there. So push it back as hard as you can. Push it hard against the tree. It may look funny right now, but in a couple of days it'll grow towards the sun and it'll all spread out perfect. I like to go around at least 6 to 8 times so it's real firm. And each time I go around, I push it in a little, make it a little hard, stiffer. Now would be a good time to add just a tiny bit of moss back there. It doesn't need a whole lot of moss, but a little bit is fine. Seems to be good for me, so I'm going to go ahead and tie it off here in the back to where I started it. This fern right here is just starting to get new shield fronds coming up in here, so this tape is all going to be covered over shortly. Now that the netting's finished helping me, holding it up, I'm going to get rid of it. I don't like to see that green netting. I want it to look a little bit more natural and just kind of blend in. So I'm just going to trim it off, and within a year, the roots will be holding on to it. The tape won't even be necessary, and the plant will be all alone, just hanging on to it. What you could do, what I like to do, most of my ferns around the yard, I'll show you a little bit later. I run a drip line off the sprinkler line. I run a drip line up to it and let it drip right in the center. So every time my sprinklers come on, a little drip comes on there. It's very hard to overwater a staghorn when it's on a tree. It has a trunk to bleed off the water. So they do extremely well on trees.